Our region's business is sponsored by PNC for the achiever in you.
From the LA Times to NPR's Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me, Pittsburgh's Conflict Kitchen has been drawing national and even international attention. Conflict Kitchen runs a cafe that serves only foods from countries the United States is in conflict with. Currently on the menu, North Korean cuisine. Jon Rubin is the co-founder of Conflict Kitchen. He does have a day job as professor in the School of Art at Carnegie Mellon University. Welcome. Good to see you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so for folks who don't know Conflict Kitchen, how did the whole concept come about?
It's interesting. It actually came out of another concept. I used to run a project in East Liberty called the Waffle Shop. I don't know if you remember, and it was a...
Sure, back in the early days when East Liberty was just beginning to reemerge
exactly,
as a dynamic neighborhood.
Yeah, so the Waffle Shop was a restaurant that had a live talk show, much like this, in the back of the restaurant, and we coaxed people in to, engage in conversation, and we probably had over 10,000 people, who complete strangers often, who were talking to each other, and we realized that the food brought a really diverse and interesting population perpetually, daily in, and what we were able to do is use the food to kind of create comfort, so that people would get up on stage and do something they're uncomfortable doing. So our kitchen at the old Waffle Shop had a storefront, and it was always closed out, and we decided to create a takeout restaurant out of our kitchen. In essence, two restaurants functioning out of one kitchen.
Yeah, great synergy there.
Great synergy, competing with ourselves, and we thought about, what does Pittsburgh need? And we came upon a whole bunch of things we thought it could be interesting to do culinarily. Number one, there's a lot of cuisines that have never been on our map. Persian food, Afghan food, Venezuelan food. There's a bit of Cuban food. And then we also talked about, can we create a center for national, international political discourse? Can we create a place where the public can unpack the stories that they might be hearing about in the news, and more specifically about countries that the United States is in some sort of conflict with, that perhaps they were only getting a very one-sided or simplified, polarized perspective about. So really, it's not to see Pittsburgh as a kind of provincial or regional place, but to see it as the center of international discourse. And I lived in San Francisco for a long time, and I felt like this is what I wanted to see in my city. So Dawn Waleski and myself decided to open this operation. And the idea was that, it's funny because we're on business report, and we're an absurdist business model, right? When we told people about this, many people said, well, you have all the wrong factors to make a success.
That's right.
Number one, you're going to sell food that's never been tested in Pittsburgh, right? So people are going to have no idea what it is.
What is North Korean cuisine? We were down there the other day and scratching my head a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, and then number two, as soon as people get used to that, you're going to go out of business and open as a new business, right? So we change every 5 to 6 months to focus on a new country. And number three, we're going to ask people to talk about politics a bit, or think about culture and politics, and that's not something businesses in the public, especially restaurants,
most try to avoid. Conflict and controversy. It's not part of a good business model.
Right.
But there you are. Well, we were down there the other day and had a chance to talk to a couple of your customers. So take a moment here to hear what they had to say.
We really love Conflict Kitchen just because everything is different. Every time it's different. Every time the U.S. gets in fights with somebody, we get a different menu, and it's reasonably priced, and the variety is just great.
I really enjoy Korean food, and so it's kind of perfect, and also I think it's really cool what they're doing here.
So there you go. They believe in the mission, but they also seem to like the food.
Yeah. It's been interesting. We started in East Liberty about 3.5 years ago, and we moved to Schenley Plaza in April. And one of the great things, when you think about it, it's one of Pittsburgh's only public plazas that brings a really diverse set of people to. Now, in East Liberty, there were probably about 50 people coming on a good day. Now there's 200 to 300. And
so that's turning into a real business then, right?
It's a real business for sure. Yeah. It's and it's nice, and we really feel like we've been embraced by the city and by our customers who kind of explore these cultures and cuisines with us.
Well, it's exciting. Last question, I guess, is what's a guy from the School of Art doing in this space?
Sure. So I actually teach in an area called contextual practice, which is sort of public and social engagement as an art practice. So, and I've been working this way for over 20 years, and the medium of the work is politics, economics, the psychology we bring to different social situations, and the composition is sort of reorganizing those to create new types of stories and meanings in the world we live in, as opposed to just in museums and galleries. So the project very much, it's both a pedagogical project, right? It's about education with the city, and it's also an artistic project to get people to think beyond the sort of normative ideas on these countries.
Well, fascinating, great place. Engage in the art part of this and also enjoy a good meal. Jon Rubin from Conflict Kitchen, thank you so much.
Yeah,
appreciate
thanks.
it.
Sure.
And we'll be back in a minute with a little dollars and cents. Stay with us.